All right, a big hello to everyone. This is me, Gav, and that's Pick. And let's see what's happened. Everybody's picking batting, and now they're losing. Last
Yeah,
two matches they picked batting, and they're lost. Again, now people have been telling everybody take batting, take batting, take batting. Now they take batting, and now they're like, I'm losing. But just because you're shit, because you don't let your batsmen come in, because you think Dubey and Washington Sundar are like better than AB de Villiers. That's what
yeah.
happens. Do you think there was a little bit arrogance yesterday from not specifically Virat Kohli, but from RCB? The fact that they were just like they just thought they're just gonna win or something, and it just shit just came back and hit them in the ass.
Yeah.
Everybody was coming at number six, and this is second time Kings 11 have beaten them, and Kings 11 has only
Only
beaten
beaten.
RCB.
Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't augur that well, right, for RCB because RCB is supposed to be because RCB is still not proven it because the RCB is not the best team in there.
Hmm.
DC is the best team, and Mumbai is not the best team, but they showcase they're like the best team. So which is even more important than DC. So and DC has shown that they are really good and they come out with a lot
Hmm.
of intent.
Yeah, yeah.
RCB is a little bit fluctuating and sometimes a little bit of drop in the intensity. I think yesterday it was just a little bit arrogance. I think they were trying to think of some decision. I think they took them a bit more lightly than they should have. And
Yeah.
even after they put up 171 on the board, which never looked likely until I think Morris went nuts at the end,
Yeah.
and they ended up putting that huge total at the end, which was not supremely huge for Sharjah, and if
Hmm.
as long as the batsmen get in, and because Rahul and Mayank have already played there well, and guess who? The universe boss was back, so there was going to be really interesting. And then they couldn't take any wickets for like I think the partition was 70 area, and by the
Yeah.
time but 78 it was already 8 overs, and
Hmm.
Mayank Agarwal had really hit all the balls everywhere. He got on 45 of 25 deliveries, so it was just game over for them. And then Chris Gale came in. He wasted a lot of delivery to start with, but you know how Chris Gale is. He's just too relaxed, too chilled out. He's like, don't worry. If this guy's gonna waste delivery, he's gonna cover up very, very quickly, and he did. First game back after I think the first time he played this say in January or February or something, and this is the first game back after the fruit poisoning bout, and
Hmm.
I think he looked very immobile in the field,
Yeah.
but during batting, still very immobile, but he doesn't really need to move much. So I think it pretty much proved the difference. At the end, it was a pretty straightforward win, but of course, not before Punjab Kings 11 do what they do is take everything to the wire. They just love it. They just love it. In fact, if somebody is match fixing, it has to be them because they're just destroying it. They're killing it. They're like nightmare of the batsmen,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah, and
batsmen. So that was.
yeah, and that's what I mean. They are so bad that even from such a strong position, and they have lost it like that, right? I was just following the scores last night, and it seems even in the Kolkata match where they eventually lost by 2 runs, right? When Maxwell hit that four, it didn't go to six. So in that also they had like similar kind of uh, runs, similar amount of runs to chase in the last 5 overs. They had to chase like 50, 46, and here they had to chase I think 43. And last 2 overs they had to make 9 runs, and then I mean that was something only they can do. This is something which DC used to do. Now it's all on Kings 11 Punjab. And yeah, coming back to uh, RCB, I think yeah I think I don't think it was arrogance. I think I don't know what it was. I feel that it was stupidity because I mean you don't hold back AV de Villiers, right? And when the wicket is so slow, you need some time on the wicket to start to get the pace of the wicket and then start hitting. Even Chris Gale, when he came, he took some time. He played some balls and then started hitting. So it's not easy. It's not And the innings which he played, AB de Villiers played against in the previous match, that innings won't happen every match, right? And yeah, I mean I felt very bizarre whatever decision they took. And even in the middle overs, they were taking it very lightly. They were not trying to, there was no intent, they were not trying to hit boundaries. They were taking it very lightly. Virat Kohli and the other two batsmen were all just taking singles. So yeah, very strange performance. Hopefully they learn from this. because we are backing them a lot.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
tactically all over the place. Whether you call it arrogance or anything, or just very sloppy, very all over the place, too laid back. Somehow just taken. It is. You have to eventually boil it down to arrogance. If this was Mumbai, they wouldn't be doing something like this. This was DC, they wouldn't be doing something. Even though Chennai, they wouldn't be doing something like this. It was because it was Kings 11, and they just felt that Kings 11 can't even make 150 or something, and they just felt that they
Hmm.
can score any at any rate. And then they realized that, dude, they're not going to be able to score 150 at certain time after Epidiv.
Yeah.
In fact, when you see the shot Epidiv played, it was in the slot, but because he hadn't actually been there that much, it didn't really connect, and he was in
Yeah.
the air and
Exactly.
he just got
Yeah.
out because it was a small field. He should have cleared. He just it was in the slot, and it just didn't connect as well
Hmm.
because he just hadn't been there that long, and that just happens. That's what happens. Plus, there's a different body language when he came in. I mean, there was like they really needed to get going, and he had already taken
Get
like
going.
four
Yeah.
balls for 2 runs, and now he just first ball he saw in the slot, he had to go for it. He could have just played it on the ground, but at that stage he would have gone for it and naturally, and it didn't connect and he got out. I don't want to talk too much about yesterday's match because
Yeah.
today's match was the one which was really cracking. It was the most
Hmm.
easiest match to win because obviously Mumbai doesn't do what Kings 11 does, take everything to the wire. In
Yeah.
fact, they finished the match as quickly as possible. I think it was in the 18th over itself they finished it. And Quinton de Kock, who was definitely the man of the match. Oh, not even 18th over, the 17th over they finished the match.
Six. Yeah. 17.
16.5.
Yeah.
Quinton
Yeah.
de Kock was man of the match after dropping that wonderful catch, which I didn't get to see, but I heard about. There's some catch he dropped which was undroppable
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
through
Yeah.
his gloves. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened. I'll see that later on in highlights or something. But after they said like he came there to make amends of that because he
Hmm.
dropped Cummins and Cummins ended up scoring half a century. So sometimes it just gets mixed up. Maxwell becomes
Hmm.
a bowler, Cummins becomes a batsman. I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's very
In
It's very confusing.
T20. Yeah.
Washington Sundar became batsman the other day. Apparently he is a batsman, but
Yeah.
and one of the things that they took him on Washington Sundar, that was also a defining moment for them.
Hmm. Hmm.
So today's match started much before it started because DK was dropped or he relinquished his captaincy,
Hmm.
whatever the hell happened. He
Yeah.
was no longer the captain. And Owen Morgan, who should have been the captain to start with, not saying that DK is a bad captain or anything. I'm just saying Owen Morgan, when you have a person who just won the fucking World Cup for the first time in the history of England, that guy is going to be the captain, right? And
Yeah.
if DK had the pedigree of winning IPL, it's understandable. Also, there were a lot of problems last year. They were not gelling, and DK was getting unnecessarily heated up. And
Hmm.
there was some way, there was part of you. I mean, you have to accept that nobody really, all of them did not really accept 100% DK as 100% captain. And there was a part of them which thought that DK probably does not deserve to be the captain.
Hmm.
And whatever the hell it is, at the end of the day, Owen Morgan should have been the captain to start with. And
Yeah.
however it happened, I think it looked pretty amicable because they were all laughing. Maybe they just portraying their laughing. They were putting clips that he and Brendan McCullum, Dick and Brendan McCullum lying on the grass like
Yeah.
chilling. It was almost like boyfriend girlfriend or boyfriend
Yeah.
boyfriend. So I don't know. And all the commentators were like, "Oh, how amazing DK is! It's not even his fault that his wife left him." They didn't say that, but obviously, if I was a commentator, I would say that. But that's why they were like trying to defend him. He was such a nice guy. That's what they do all the time. And then it was a bit of a nightmare because Narayan is still out. That thing hasn't been sorted, and they lost way too many wickets. I think they were 60 for like
Hmm.
five or something at one stage. So
Yeah.
eventually, they should be happy to get whatever they got because they were really really struggling. And against Mumbai, in fact, Mumbai let them score 148. That was
Yeah.
eventually it was pretty high score because they were 61 when Andre Russell. What do you think about Andre Russell? I mean, at that time,
Hmm.
see, I'm not saying that just, I think he just went out on a very good delivery
Hmm.
because he just didn't see that coming. I do not know how he did not see that coming. And yeah, I think even if Russell hadn't gotten on that delivery, probably would have tried to hit the next ball out of the park and he would have gotten out anyway. He
Yeah.
just has no patience, does he? Because he had all the time today.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
came out like when there were like tons and tons of overs to go,
Hmm.
and because you see, Karthik got on eighth over. He was 42 for four. He had everything to play for, and but he just didn't have much patience. I think
Yeah.
one six he hit was really wonderful, but I don't know. It was just all the things have been very weird. And Kulkarni, I see the trouble with happens. Kulkarni is like this smoke screen, which means like when you have a player who just by chance end up playing a good innings, and now you're confused. You can't drop him because the other player who was supposed to be in his place, who is sort of suspended, and the other play, and you don't have any other player to
You're talking
open
about
really.
Tripathi, right? Not
Kulkarni.
Kulkarni. Tripathi.
Is it Tripathi? Who the fuck is Kulkarni?
Yeah.
I've written Kulkarni. It must be Tripathi
Kulkarni.
only. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just probably called him Kulkarni for whatever reason. So yeah,
Hmm.
Tripathi, and then Tripathi was supposed to play. Yeah, it is Tripathi or Tripathi. So Tripathi is this one player. Tripathi shouldn't be playing. He got into a very wonderful catch, but it's nothing to do about this thing. When I was making notes when the
Hmm.
match started, I was like, that's exactly what I was writing, that Tripathi should not be in the team right now, because
Hmm.
this is a smoke screen he's created, because he's come in, because particularly, see, what happens is, if your girlfriend is shit, okay,
Hmm.
and then somebody wants to just be with you or go out on a date, bang you, stuff, you just, that person looks good. And if your girlfriend is such a horrible person, she's like 1 out of 10, she's completely sucks your blood, destroy your mind. And even if you find a regular average person, that person feels like, oh, this person is so fucking good, particularly the first time when they're going on a good date, you're just like, oh, this is so awesome. But then you realize slowly and gradually, because after you get married to them, they're like, oh, this didn't go around right, because what I was comparing is to the worst ever, and now I ended up getting married to somebody who was 3 out of 10 because my girlfriend was 1 out of 10. That's what the situation with Tripathi is. I don't know much about Tripathi, but even before, he has not performed, and that day he came out, he performed, because rest of the team did not. Also, it shown much more because rest of the team did not perform that day, and
Hmm.
he was performing. I don't know. I think they eventually won also that match. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but for
they
me,
won.
Tripathi should not be opening. And by the way, I've noticed this thing with Shubman Gill. His stats came out, and his strike rate is not even 120. It was like 115 or 116 or something. And
Hmm.
today again, it was his strike rate was horrible. So I don't know if Shubman Gill is supposed to be the right player there as well, because if other people are not hitting, who is hitting? Who is getting them going? It's very confusing.
Yeah, yeah.
And Morgan does not come in. Karthik Rana actually looks like a very good player, because he gets out all the time, but whatever he hits, and he looks very positive to me, at least from that point of view. So
Yeah.
yeah, those were my thing. Thank God they dropped Banton, because Banton looked completely
Hmm.
out of sorts in the last match. And but luckily, whatever is happening across the table, they are still very much in the loop of top four, and they are right now also still in the top four. So yeah, I don't know. You want to pick up on that, because they got Coulter nine. Okay, let's not talk about Coulter nine, because they changed Patterson for Coulter nine. Coulter nine went for a lot of runs anyway,
Hmm.
so can't talk about much there. So I don't know which part you want to pick on, if there's something specifically. I did pick on Rohit, Bumrah, and Ishan misfielded within the first 2 overs. That's how
Hmm.
sloppy they were before
Yeah.
Surya Kumar took that catch.
Yeah, I think Kolkata, I think few podcasts back, I said that they have a problem of their batting lineup because they have so many batsmen who need, who, you know, they're not fitting together, the whole team, because they have so many players who can open or who should be playing in the top order, but since they have so many people, so their batting lineup is still not really good. I feel Morgan is coming very late, and then Karthik is most of the time not making any runs, and then the with this guy not playing and then getting suspended, Naren, this has become a nightmare. So it's, see, IPL is all about combinations, because if you see, all the teams have very good players. It's not that on paper all the team has very good players. They have good Indian players, they have good foreign players, but you need a combination which can work, right? Sometimes, and with KKR the problem is they have so many similar batsmen, similar in the sense that those batsmen should play up the order. And coming back to Russell, yeah, I think we have been talking about it from a long time. uh, Most of the time, if you see last I think last year, since he was really good. So I think all the teams have a plan for him, and they are sticking to the plan. And Russell, as you said, doesn't have any patience, doesn't have any he's not using his brain most of the time. He's just trying to hit. He's trying to do the same thing again and again. And if you are a good performer, teams will go after you, so you'll have to be on your toes as a player to be ahead. And I think he's not able to do that. So yeah, KKR, I think we predicted in our original prediction to not make it, and I think they are well on that way to not make it to the top four. So yeah, I think Mumbai again very clinical performance, and batting wise also there was no scoreboard pressure once these two people started going, and then they started taking chances, and then yeah, so yeah, pretty simple match for them, for Mumbai. Yeah, that's my
All
thoughts.
right, so the big match is coming up tomorrow.
Hmm.
See, it's for some people. I think for you also, it might look like a bit straightforward. Like RCB eventually should come back
No,
and win. But I
this is
think both
not.
the teams are hurt. Both
Yeah,
the teams are hurt. This is gonna be a battle because
yeah,
if
yeah.
you have to understand, if RR has the batsman, they get going. Steven Smith hasn't clicked in like 4 matches.
Hmm.
If they get going, because see, one thing you notice that their intent, they're not gonna back down now because they got nothing to lose.
Hmm.
Because Butler's gonna come out and he's gonna whack you. Okay,
Yeah,
if Butler sticks around 60 runs and he makes 60 runs, 20 deliveries, you're already gone out of the park because pitches slow down. This is
yeah.
going to
Hmm.
be difficult. And Steven Smith decides to just, play his game instead of trying to become somebody else, which I was not opposed to. It just hasn't worked out. So,
Hmm.
because the way he is such a great batsman, might as well, because if Butler is going to go for it completely nuts, he might as well just play his goddamn
Yeah,
game.
there's
And then other
Butler.
players anyway,
There's
other
Butler,
players
there's
anyway are gonna go for it.
Sanjo.
And Ben
Yeah.
Stokes, everybody's going for it, so you just play your goddamn game.
Hmm.
It's just gonna work out much better for me, for their team. So I'm not. I think it's 50-50. I'm just gonna
Hmm.
pick RCB because we're just gonna back RCB in that
Yeah.
situation. But I'm not. I don't know. I I don't know. Honestly, I'm just picking RCB because RCB has to win this match, and RR. I don't know. This is gonna be a weird match, man. I don't know. This is gonna. I hope this is interesting. I hope this
Yeah.
gets interesting because we had bit few boring matches apart from Kings 11 trying to make matches interesting just by
Yeah.
just take dragging into the last over for whatever reason. And yeah, even in the aftermatch interview, uh, the one of the panelists commentators asked this guy.
Rob.
Chris Gayle that was
Chris
he
Gayle.
nervous or something, and he was
Hmm.
like, "Man, I'm not nervous. I'm universe boss. I'm not nervous."
Yeah,
And then
that guy is
like
not nervous.
uh, even he asked for like showed his bat also. It said like the boss. He said show
Hmm.
respect after
Hmm.
his half century. So after that big match against DC and CSK, I think it might look another straightforward match for DC to win. But I think see here what will like for me on paper, I give CSK absolutely zero chance to win. Now that is on paper, but the game, as they say, let's me do the boring comment. Game is not played on paper. Okay, how many times have I heard that shit? Right. Okay, my point is, if DC comes out and they play to their strengths, is it
Hmm.
that take them on and play fearless and put 185 on the board or more,
Hmm.
CSK is screwed. Okay.
Yeah.
CSK is dead and buried right there because they'll not be able to up the ante that level because they will try, but it will not work
Hmm.
2 out of 3 times. Okay, it already worked last time, so pretty much law of averages is not going to work this time. So if DC wins the toss, I think if CSK also wins the toss, they're going to try to bat first because it's
Hmm.
Sharjah anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. If DC wins the toss, they're going to go for it. Although the winning the toss is not going to be the end of the day because as long as DC contains these people,
Hmm.
because at some level they might show a lot of conservatism and show like maybe 175 might be good enough. But
Hmm.
then DC chasing, again, DC is the best team with the best players and best combinations, but anything is possible. But I am saying if DC plays to their strength and does not let CSK come into the game by
Hmm.
playing slowing down or just falling for their strategies, I don't think CSK can really chase 180 plus total. And
Hmm.
that's something DC should be easily able to do with their strengths and with their strategies, with their nerve and with their fearless approach and the batting
Hmm.
lineup and everything. So that's my take. But if it goes into CSK's comfort zone of
Hmm.
165 odd, they're gonna nail it. But chasing is still gonna be a problem for CSK. I can assure you that. That's still gonna be a problem for CSK because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
if they lose a couple of wickets here and there, they will start to like think. Once they start to think, it'll just get weird because the batsmen in the top number 3, 4, 5 do not play that quickly, and they start thinking. So
Yeah.
DC, of course, are we picking after that as well? Sunday or what?
No, I think these two. Because I've not even seen who are playing on Sunday.
SRH,
Uh, SRH versus.
KKR. I'm not picking KKR. I think this is the time SRH one's gonna whoop them because I've been backing SRH and they've lost a couple of times,
Yeah,
destroying
this is
my
this is
amazing,
SRH's
amazing thing.
chance actually, since
This is their
KKR.
chance. This is the
Hmm.
chance. Go above. And particularly if CSK ends up winning a day before, this is it for SRH.
Hmm.
They need to come back up. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will be interesting. So after that, it's Mumbai versus Kings 11. I think Kings 11 already won enough matches for this month. So Mumbai is not going to lose there. If Mumbai loses, which happens so many times, right? The worst team actually
Yeah,
ends up beating the best teams
it
multiple
happens.
times, and
Yeah.
then they
Hmm.
feel like, okay, I'm enough. It's done for. So yeah, I mean, I'm anyway picking SRH and Mumbai. I'm not going to change my pick,
Hmm.
regardless whatever happens. If DK and they've even become shared captains or something, or completely setting a new precedent, doesn't really matter. So that's the way it's going to be. All right, I think we've spoken enough. Where we missed something, otherwise we're gonna just wrap it up. Wrap it up.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but I mean,
All right.
just to yeah, add my thought as well. I think the most interesting match would be the this week's or weekend's most interesting match would be KKR versus SRH, because both teams have lost their previous matches and they are in with a chance for the fourth spot. I don't think they can come to the third spot. I mean, stranger things have happened, but it's very difficult. And yeah, I mean, this will be a very good weekend actually. All the four matches have some significance. Apart from the last match, it doesn't have much significance. But yeah, the first three matches of the weekend would be very interesting. Yeah.
I think all three matches are interesting, and
Hmm.
I hope they become interesting.
Yeah.
And everybody comes in, and who knows? Think Kings 11 will just probably try to lose on the last delivery. So, all right. On that note, take care. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye bye. Take care.